Hi everybody. So this week we're looking at our next stage of the implementation part. Okay, again, we're still sticking with HTML because we're currently building up the structure of your website. So this week what we're going to be looking at is learning how to input media into your web pages. Okay, so this could be through images, through audio, through video. Okay, we're also going to be looking at adding in hyperlinks. Now, hyperlinks can be both internal and external. I'll talk to you about the difference with them in a second. And they use the anchor tag, which you can see here is the A tag. Okay, so before, when the internet was first developed, sort of back in early 1990s, we weren't actually able to add in images into our websites, okay? We literally could just put in some text and we could have some hyperlinks. So here's a couple of examples of showing what difference it makes to a web page when you've got images into it, okay? These, believe it or not, are both from the same website. They're both from Amazon, and they are their original book page, which is this grey area here. And this is currently what the Amazon book page looks like. So it's much, much more interesting having some images and things in their website. So to add an image into your HTML page, we use the image tag, okay, the IMG tag. The syntax that we need for that is here, okay, so in this little blue box here. So we put in image, the SRC stands for source, okay, so we're looking for the image and then the source file equals. Then we have inverted commas, okay, so using your Shift and 2 button. Inside here, you need to put in whatever the image name is that you're linking to, okay. If it's stored in a separate folder, you must put in the file path to get to that image as well. Again, we'll come on to that and talk about that a little bit later. But as well as the name of the image, you also must put in the file extension, okay? So either a .jpg, a .png, a .gif, okay? Those are the three that work with Notepad. I know you can get image files such as TIFF, etc. I am not sure if whether they work with Notepad or not. So try and stick with a JPEG, a PNG file, or a GIF file. The other thing that must go in here is the alt, and I'm going to again talk about that in a second, okay? So, inserting your alt attribute there. Alt stands for alternative text, all right? It's really, really important that you include this with every single image that you put up onto your web page, okay? The alternative text, the alt, appears on the screen when your image doesn't display. Okay, or if your image is quite large and it's taken quite a while to display, then the alternative text will appear there while we're waiting on it. So for example, if I have a file called sunshine.jpg, my alternative might just be an image of a sunny day. Okay. The other really important thing about using the alternative text is that it allows people with visual impairments to use a screen reader. Okay. Now, obviously, they can't particularly see your website, so they will have screen readers that tell them what's on the website, and it will read through everything. If you don't put in alternative there, it will just say image, but it won't actually let them know what the image is. Okay. So you want to have that alternative text so that they know that there is an image of a sunny day there. And lastly, the other reason that we include alternative text is it allows search engines to actually index your web page content. So if you've got in there an image of a sunny day and somebody's looking for a website that has a sunny day mentioned on it, then your website would appear. Okay. So sometimes web developers will include the size that the image has got to be as well, and that helps to maintain the consistency on your website, okay? There's nothing worse than seeing a website that's got images of all shapes and sizes, and they're higgledy-piggledy, they're all over the place, okay? So by adding in these height and width attributes into your image tag, now see they're still in size, they're still contained within the greater than, less than symbols there, we can set your height and your width of your image, sorry. Be careful when you're altering the height and the width. You have to try and keep the perspective of the image correct, okay? So if it's a landscape image, so that would mean that the width is wider than the height. If it's a portrait image, then your height should obviously be bigger than your width, okay? So you can play around with it, have a look at it. If it doesn't look right, then go back and change their dimensions there, okay? Now, what we're going to do then for our first task is we're going to open up the example page that you created last week, and we're going to add in the code that's shown next to this yellow arrow here, okay? So this one here is putting in as an image that I've got saved in my folder. Now this is already saved into my folder that's got my example web page on it. If I just show you here, let me go into the folder. Okay, so if I go into my web design folder there, sample website, there's my example website. So there's my cool image saved in there already. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to open up a page here and I'm going to type in the code for this. So it's just image source equals, then the name of your image that you're putting in. Remember to put in the file extension, and this one, if I actually look at it here, I can see it's a ping file, okay? So I know that I can put in .png, okay? And then I'm going to put in my alternative text as well. So back to the page here, we can see I've put in my alternative. It's a Bitmoji wearing cool glasses, okay? So I'm just going to put this in so it looks okay, or keeps it consistent. So alt equals, and then again, inside inverted commas, Bitmoji wearing cool glasses. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is save my file again. And if I double click on it to open it, you can see then that my Bitmoji has come in there. Now, maybe it's a little bit big. So what I maybe want to do then, and I think I've actually got that on the presentation, open it up the next one, okay, is I'm going to go and change the size of it, okay? So by adding in, just after where I've written Bitmoji wearing cool glasses, I'm going to add in the height equals 50 and width equals 50, okay? So again, in here, make sure it's before your greater than symbol. So I'm going to put height equals 50 and then width equals 50. I've got a funny feeling they should be in inverted commas. Yep. I can never remember when they should have inverted commas or not. Okay. Now the 50 just stands for pixels. You can either specify that you want it, you can put px afterwards as well if you want to. It really doesn't make much of a difference. If I go back to my web page now, I'm going to just refresh and you'll see that it's now reduced it. So you can see that 50 pixels wide and 50 pixels high is not particularly large, okay? So that will give you a bit of an idea for when you actually create your websites, how big you perhaps want them to appear. Okay, so that's your first task, is to go and find an image. You can download one off the internet. Make sure you save it into your example website folder, okay? And then you can add it in from there. So what happens then if you want to add in an image that's not saved in that same folder? Okay. Now, obviously, if it's not specified, the browser expects to find the image within that same folder as your web page. Okay, but it is actually good practice to store images for a website into a different subfolder, usually called images or image or something like that. When you do that, you must then include your file path and the folder name into the source attribute. Okay. Now, there are two types of file paths to be aware of. We've got a relative file path and you've got your absolute file path. Okay. Now, relative file paths point to a file that's relative to the page that you're on. All right. So you have to think about how would I get from that file, my web page that I'm currently working on, how would I get to the image that I'm after? Okay. So in this example here, we've got an image folder or images folder, and it's got my sunshine JPEG file within it, okay? So all I need to do then is just put in this images / in front of the image that I'm looking for, okay? In this example, my images folder is located a level above the current folder, so it's not actually contained within my sample website folder anymore, it's actually above that. So all I need to do to access that then is put in these double dots and it will find it from there. So it might be you end up with 3 or 4 files paths in there as well. Okay, it all just depends on where you store it. But this is why whenever we're creating a website, it's important that you have a folder for your website that you're creating, and then within the folder, you can create your subfolders in there for like images and so on. Okay. An absolute file path requires the full URL that's required to access the file. Okay, so if your image is you're using as one that was found off the internet, you have to put in that entire file there. Now, if this website changes and it now no longer has that image in there, then obviously you're going to end up with an image, a blank square showing up on your page. Okay, and it would literally just say image of a sunny day there. So it's best practice, when at all possible, just to use your relative file paths and try and avoid the absolute file paths wherever you can. So this time what you're going to do in your task is you're going to add an image to your web page that's located in a different folder, okay? So what I would like you to do is inside your sample website folder, create an images folder first, okay? I want you to go and find another image from the internet. Try using like a GIF file. Try looking for a GIF file this time. It's an animated image. Now, some of you noticed with your work last week, when you download an image from the internet, sometimes a file name comes in and it's massive and long and it's full of random letters and numbers, okay? If that happens, change the name of it, okay? Rename it to something that's going to be meaningful and easy for you to remember, okay? Because you don't want to have to include this file name that's huge and long and then you actually don't know what the image is either, okay? So do that first. We're then going to add in, again, image source here. We're going to put in our code here. You'll notice this time it's got the images folder in front of the name of my file. I've called this one world.gif. Again, change your alternative text. Make sure you put in something suitable. And I've just changed the height and width. Now, the other thing that I've done in here before I've put in my images is I've added in a couple of BRs. Now, BRs are line breaks, remember, okay? So it'll just put in this white space between my cool image and then my world image, okay? So I'm just going to go back to my text here. Now, I'm just going to, for very quickness sake, oh no, I'm not, because it's a screenshot. I was just going to type that in. So I'll put in my BRs first off. Okay, now again, I'm just going to, for quickness sake, I'm just going to copy and paste this code here. Now you can do this as well. Remember, it's the same code every time. All you've got to do is make sure that you change it up so it suits the folder that you're looking for, or the file that you're looking for. This time it was called world, and it was a GIF file, so I need to change that to GIF. And I need to remember, because it's in my images folder, I need to put in my images and then /, okay, so it finds it. Change your alternative. So this one is a rotating world. And I want my height and my width to be slightly bigger this time. So I'm just going to change those to suit. Hopefully if I've got everything right there, I can then go back to my page, refresh it, and you can see my GIF file has come in there with my rotating world. Okay, so that's us finished with the adding in images. Okay, what we're now going to look at is inserting a hyperlink to your page. Okay, now I know there's quite a lot to this task, but it actually works quite well. Sorry, this one here, is adding in videos, and then you've also got adding in audio. Now it works exactly the same way. I've set you a little challenge to go and try putting those in as well. Okay, so try putting those in. You need to download a video file and an audio file from the internet, but it works in exactly the same way. Okay, so for this week's lesson, I'm basically going to be showing you how to add in a hyperlink to your page. We've got two other types of links that can be added into your HTML files as well. We've got links to our Cascade and style sheets and links to JavaScript, but I'll show you them when we come on to actually learn about Cascade and style sheets in JavaScript, okay? So hyperlinks allow you to move around the web. That's why the internet's so great, the World Wide Web's so great. It's because you can go from one page to another page, and it doesn't matter where in the world these pages are saved, okay? Hyperlinks can be internal or external. Internal hyperlinks will take you to the pages that are within your own website, okay? They can be further down the page if you want to, or it can be to a different page, but always within your own website. External hyperlinks will take you to another website that's saved on the World Wide Web. Okay. Now, obviously, when you use an external hyperlink, you won't then have a button that takes you back to your own page. Okay. You'd have to rely on the back button at the top of the keyboard, at the top of the screen, sorry. Okay. Hyperlinks are often shown on your page as blue, bold, and underlined. Okay. Now, that's not always the case. You can see this one here is actually sort of teal color. The thing that gives it away as being a hyperlink, though, is when I run my mouse cursor over it, it changes to a little finger pointer, okay? So you can always tell that something is a hyperlink because it does that. And obviously, images and buttons can also be set as hyperlinks as well, okay? Again, we're going to come back to this one later on. So here is your syntax that you need to put in a hyperlink into your page, okay? Now, breaking it down, A stands for anchor, okay? Now, the anchor tells the browser that this is an anchor element, which means that it's going to be a hyperlink to something else. Href actually stands for hyperlink reference, okay? And this part in here that goes within your inverted commas is your page that you're wanting to link it to, okay? So in there, you would put in your HTTP / www, whatever page you're going to, okay? Please remember to close off your anchor element after that. And then this section here, your text to identify the link, is actually what's going to appear in your website as the hyperlink text, okay? So this part here is going to be whatever is blue and underlined. Once you have put that in, please make sure you close your anchor element, okay? You must put that at the end. If you don't put this at the end, then any text that you put in after that, it will assume is also a hyperlink, okay? So it's really important that you put that in, okay? As I mentioned earlier, you can also add in images as hyperlinks. The only difference with them is we add in this extra line with image source equals and then put in whatever your image file is called. And that will then become your hyperlink. So rather than having the text in here, your hyperlink text, you just put it in as an image. Okay, so again, we've got another little challenge there for you to try. Using example one again, we're going to put in text. Now you can pick any website that you want to in here, but you'll see there, we're just putting in anchor, hyperlink reference equals, so on. And then this BBC bite size is actually what shows up as your hyperlink, okay? So if I just come out of the page here, I'm just going to go and open up this file again. Now make sure that you're putting all of this within the body of the page, okay? So all has to come in before that body there. So we're putting in anchor, hyperlink reference equals, and again, just putting in here, you can just put in www, it should work with that as well. And I'll just leave it at that, that should be working okay. So close that anchor part off. The next part here is what you want to appear as your hyperlink, sorry, and then close that down. Now again, I'm just going to add in a couple of BRs just because I've got my rotating world in, and if I don't put in line breaks there, then this hyperlink will appear next to my rotating world, and I want it to come in underneath. So again, I'm going to save that page there and come back to here, refresh it, and you can see now I've got my home page, and if I move my cursor over it, it's changed to a little hyperlink. Oh, clicked on there, it didn't work, okay? Now the reason that that one didn't work is because I did not put it in with the HTTP at the front, okay? So you need to put in your HTTP at the start so that it knows it is a web page, okay? Now if I save that, come back to my page here, hopefully if I go back it should take me to there. I'm going to refresh that one again, and hopefully now if I click on there, it's taken me to my BBC homepage. Okay, so a couple of bits and pieces for you to try there, quite a lot for you to try, adding some images, adding some hyperlinks. Now your task that I would like you to do this week then, once you've had a play around and try them with your examples, what I want you to do is to open up your own website homepage, okay? I'd like you to add an image into your homepage. Okay, remember to add in your alternative text using the alt attribute, and you can amend the size using the width and the height attributes. I would then like you to create 3 other pages. Now, the easiest way to do this is if you just save as with your home page and then give them a new name. Okay, so for example, for me, what I'm going to do with my home page is I'm going to do a save as Imagine Dragons, and then I'm going to create a page about Imagine Dragons. So I'm going to change my heading, I'm going to change the text and everything in there, okay? I'm then going to do another one, save as, from a Panic at the Disco, and another one, save as, for my Bastille. Okay, it means that you've got all your head elements, you've got all the body elements all laid out. You can just then go and change your headings and your text and stuff to suit. Okay. Once you've got your 3 other pages created, I would like you to add in a hyperlink on each of your pages that's going to take you to each of the other pages. Okay, so for each page, you should have a link to your home page and a link to your other 2 pages. So for each page, you should have 3 hyperlinks on there. So give it a go. There's quite a lot of work for you to try out this week, but hopefully you'll find once you've got it going that you've got a nice wee website created there at the end of it.